Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending this webinar session that is presented to you jointly by Google as well as Cloud Kinetics. We're very pleased to have you, and today we have a lot of content that we have prepared for you, and we hope that it'll be helpful for you. So, a couple of house rules. We appreciate if you mute yourself unless you have a question to ask, and there'll be a Q&A at the end. And if at any one time you have to ask a question to the speaker, please type it in the chat box. So, and I like to recommend that you have a phone to scan the QR code at the end, because at the end of the webinar, we have a survey. And upon filling in the survey, you'll be eligible to redeem a 1 day of data analytics assessment. So, to the next slide, please, Steph. I would like to introduce the two speakers of today. Our first speaker will be from Google. A- Alam Shah is a professional IT professional with more than 10 years experience as pre-sales architect, where he leverages available technologies to help customers address their issues. Currently, he's working as a partner solution consultant in Google Cloud, where he works closely with partners like Cloud Kinetics to leverage Google Cloud technologies to solve customers' challenges. Our second speaker for today is Shirat. Shirat is an experienced executive holding multiple cloud platform certifications with a technical background. He has delivered multiple integrated IT solutions and cloud consultancy, and he has a strong passion for technology, communications, and sales. So I shall invite Alam Shah on board to present to you about the trends of data analytics.
Thank you, Jane. Hello, everyone. Could you see my video and hear my voice clear?
Yes, Alam.
Yes, Mas Alam.
Yeah, okay. Please let me know if somehow in the middle of the session my voice is breaking or the video is not playing. Else, yeah, sometimes it happens. So I will share my presentation now. Okay, so let me start. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alam Shah. You can call me Alam, and I'm glad to be here together with our partners, Cloud Kinetics, to deliver this session to you all. Our topics for today are around how to modernize data analytics using various technologies in Google Cloud. And before my colleague Shirat deliver his presentation with several demos that I think will be really, really interesting, I would like to open this session with an overview about the Google and Google Cloud itself. So my presentation will cover the following topics. First, I want to talk about the Google itself. What is the Google background and what is the Google mission? And then I will talk also about the Google Cloud Platform itself and about its mission also. And then I will follow up on how GCP is different to another cloud service provider. And the last one, I will also explain our compliance to make you feel safe and secure using our technologies to store your data. So without further ado, let's begin with the first section. First, I want to talk about the Google background. What is our mission and what we have done all through this year. I think it's very important because based on my observation all this time that all cloud providers have a beginning, right? And the technology that support their original business usually become a key technology that differentiate them from the other cloud providers. And as a Google, we are very proud to say that big data is in our DNA because we have already explored and maintained the data since the beginning. If we do quick search on internet or what is the Google mission initially, is we might find that the Google mission statement will be to organize the world information. The world information here means data, and a lot of data because we are talking about the world information. And also the statements mentioned that make it universally accessible and useful. It means that we do not just provide the raw data for you. We also use some intelligence to make it easier to be accessed and meaningful to user. Of course, if we remember about the first Google product, which is a search engine back in 1998, if I'm not mistaken, this mission statement is really relevant. And today, Google is already more than a search engine, right? We have several services that have more than 1 billion users, such as Android, Google Chrome, YouTube, Google Maps, Google Search, Google Play, Gmail, Google Drive, Google Photos, and so on and so forth. What does it mean by 1 billion plus user? It means that more data to be processed, more intelligence, and also more reliable infrastructure, because obviously we will not be able to serve 1 billion plus customer without a reliable infrastructure. So to serve this purpose, organizing the world's information at never before heard scale means that Google sometimes had to invent new ways of doing data processing, because maybe the standard database technology won't do it because the data is too large, or we need to keep up with the lowest latency possible. So in the journey, Google innovated some technologies. We wrote white papers on them, and this became a basis of some other technologies that developed later on, such as a Hadoop ecosystem. In here, we saw some key technologies such as a Google file system. We saw there is a map reducer which will become a Hadoop's ecosystem. And then we have Dremel, our computing system. Then Colossus, our next generation file system after GFS. Also, there are Spanner, and the latest one is TensorFlow, which will be used later on for artificial intelligence or machine learning. All these technologies was written because there is a need for Google to have them, because the standard technology was not available at that time. So you may ask later on, so how it's related to us as a customer, right? Maybe you think, well, that is impressive, but unfortunately we are not Google. We're just a company that just trying to focus on what matters. We want to keep business running, especially in this pandemic situation as of now. So, or your organization may be just trying to make change for better, to find a better way to do things, to do innovation that can provide a better outcome. Or maybe your company, as another company, obviously, you want to maintain your cost, right? Your main objective is to manage cost, how to keep costs low because of the situation, make some business suffer. Hence, we need to keep the business running while reducing costs, or we need to keep our product cost is as low as possible to stay competitive. That's where the Google Cloud Platform comes in. Because with the Google Cloud Platform, you will enjoy the same technologies that are developed by Google all this time, what I've mentioned earlier, for your company and your business. So in Google Cloud Platform, our mission is to accelerate every organization ability to digitally transform and reimagine business through data and through data-powered innovation. I want to emphasize two things here. First one is every organization. It means that organization of all size. You don't need to have to be a large enterprise company or multi-million-dollar company to enjoy GCP technologies. We make it available to your organization, whatever the size. You can start small and later on consume more. But the point here, we provide it to you as well as we provide it to another multinational company, multi-million-dollar company. So the service is available for all organizations. The second one, the emphasis here is the data-powered innovation, right? Where we bring 2 decades of experience managing data and solve problems to address your business issues. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You can tap into our experience and our innovation that we use all this time to solve your business issue. There are various of GCP product that are available for data processing and data analytic purpose, such as a cloud storage, which is our multifunction object storage, where it provides virtually unlimited capacity to store your file or data. And then we have a data prop, managed Hadoop cluster. And we have a big table data store, our NoSQL database offering. Of course, we have our beloved BigQuery. Um, and then there is data flow, PubSub, and so on and so forth. I will not explain this because my colleague Siraj will explain this more to you in the later session, uh, including where this solution fits in the data pipeline, whether it's in ingestion side, in the processing side, or visualization side. What I want to highlight here is most our product, as I mentioned before, especially in the data analytics area, follow same principle or approach. The first principle or approach for Google in data analytics is we want our product to enable you to focus on analytics itself, not managing infrastructure, not maintaining performance, not managing scale, manage the scaling capability, and so on and so forth. We want you to focus on analytics itself. That's why most of our product is either serverless or managed service product, which provide customer those benefits. The second one is we are trying to provide you the comprehensive solution that can integrate it well one another without extreme effort. So it is easier for you. In terms of machine learning capabilities, we also equip our service to support end-to-end machine learning lifecycle. You can use various approaches to machine learning, whether using our ready-to-use API or to develop it by yourself. And the last one, of course, is our solution is innovative and open, which means that most of our product is basically an open source product. So if one day you want to move back to on-premise, or you think that Google Cloud Platform cannot serve you well, you can always move it either to another environment or back to on-premise, because basically uh, most of our product is based on the open source product. So you don't need to worry about being locked in. But of course, if you stay in the Google Cloud infrastructure, it will be beneficial to you because you don't need to maintain all these things. You just need to focus on the analytic itself and focus on innovation to differentiate your business to other competitors. On the infrastructure side, we are supported by a strong infrastructure, including our strong network around the world. Based on the data that 40% of internet traffic is going past through the Google network. So if you need to work with data that may be exist in other part of the world, of course, this will be a big advantage in terms of latency and security. If we talk about number of regions, last year we launched Jakarta region, which is our 24th region in the world. And in the future, we will launch some region in Asia and also in the Europe. So a more computing environment will be available to our customers around the world. So I've mentioned about some of our product lineup and the Google background. What is our differentiator? differentiation to other cloud provider. You may also ask Google or partner, is it safe to store data at Google, right? Of course, many our customer will ask how secure my data if it is placed in GCP, right? Whether you will use it for your advantage, whether you will use it for marketing activities and so on and so forth. So the answer is here. Based on the Google Cloud security and privacy, we mentioned here that customer own customer data, not Google. So basically, we will never sell customer data to third parties or anything outside Google. Then Google does not use customer data for advertising. This is the main point, because what you use is the Google Cloud Platform, where the data is encrypted at rest and in transit by default. So basically, no one can see your data unless you are allowed to do that. So it's quite impossible. It's quite impossible to sell the data or use customer data for advertising. So it is safely stored in the Google storage. So we also never give it any government entity backdoor access, and we are audited against international standard. So you can check our security and privacy terms in that link. Bottom line is your data is safe, it is encrypted, and it will not be used for other purpose such as marketing, advertising, or any type. We never sell it to any other third party. The last one here, as a trusted cloud provider, we always try to comply with a global standard such as ISO, SOC, and so on. PCI DSS. In USA, there is a FedRAMP, and maybe in the other part of the world, there is a specific requirement. We try to comply with all of those compliance to ensure that our to ensure to our customer that we are following global standard and compliance when serving customer. And if you need a copy of this certification, it is available publicly in our website. You can download it by yourself, or you can contact our partners such as Kinetics to get the certification, maybe to bring the case to your top level management. So that is my last slide. I hope this is informative as an overview. I will stop my presentation. I will hand over to Shirab for more interesting content later. To you, Shirab.
Sure. Thank you, Alam. Thank you for such a nice content and sharing about the Google, especially the vision part, which is the most important. And what I understand that data is no longer a new thing. Data become a oil, and it's a de facto for everyone, regardless of which industry vertical the business belongs. And with that, like again, I would like to thanks everyone who joined in their working day. It's good to see and good to connect back. Most of the people is new and a few I know, so it's good to connect. Right now we connecting virtually, but hope we will connect someday with again same kind of events and enjoy all those talks and the demos. So I'm going to share the presentation. I will spend 10 to 12 minutes about the presentation, and I have a couple of demos which I would like to show from the different perspective, that how any business can modernize their analytics vertical. So let me share my presentation, and think my PPT is on. Alam, can you confirm the presentation is on?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, as the title is Modernized Data Analytics on Google Cloud, and it is with the partnership with Google, and there are many more webinars or with the feedback from this webinar. We are always looking to build more and more such content and share with everyone. So a small agenda is we will talk about what is the difference between on-premises or legacy analytics and why we need to focus on the analytics on cloud, characteristic of modern analytics, and what kind of services end-to-end available on Google Cloud to build or modernize the existing or from the scratch analytics. And as I mentioned that I have a couple of demo, few key takeaways, and at the end, that is a important part. Love to interact, love to hear the thoughts as well as the questions where Google plus Cloud Kinetics can support you to in your journey. A bit about Cloud Kinetics. Cloud Kinetics is a born in cloud partner established in 2012, and from the day zero, the focus is on the cloud, uh, cloud native and cloud migration business, and it's I can say the uh, learning curve. Being as a Cloud Kinetics, we started with the migration, and as the market started growing, as the proven cases are there that analytics can be happen on cloud, so we upscale ourselves. And being from last 5 year part of Cloud Kinetics, I have come across such scenarios to make a customer journey as a success story from the traditional legacy uh, data warehouses or databases to the cloud native databases and the cloud native data warehouses. So uh, Cloud Kinetics is a Google Cloud Premier partner with having a competencies around the infrastructure cloud migration, data management analytics, and cloud interconnect partner. We are in the progress to become the managed service provider, because that is the part of entire journey for a customer is not looking to just a migration, but they are looking the post migration, post go live, what the support will be provided. So we are here covering end to end from our side. And apart from that, we are a partner of couple of ISVs, because that can be part of the existing customer what I can say workflow. So we are trying to bring everything on table. A quick poll for everyone. Are you all of your decisions are data driven with dashboard? Can you put your comments in the chat, and the moderator will announce the result? Maybe I will wait for 30 to 50 seconds and let's see. So if you are already using any kind of analytics, be it cloud native or cloud based or the traditional one, and are you going to leverage or enjoying the results with your existing, or are you planning to drive your analytics journey? So feel free to drop your comments. So I see the result also that yeah, 80% people who are on the call, they are saying they are using some kind of some kind of data driven thing in their business to drive their business decision. So that's good to know. And let's see how many we can modernize, or if already in the modernize, what else we can explore from that. So we are living in the digital transformation and industry 4.0. We are coming from the steam engine to the electricity, and we see that cloud revolution. But nowadays we all are connected, or we are generating the data never before, and that is where the data becomes a new oil. Data becomes the heart of any organization. But what to do with that data? That is still a big question. And there is a number which is provided from the Google side that 69% of companies, they have not created the data driven organization. I'm happy to see like 80% people who are on the audience right now, they said they are in somewhere journey and their business is data driven, but the overall globally surveys are saying 69% they have not created anything, and 71% report they have yet to force what kind of data culture they can build. So there is a huge market and huge opportunity for all of us to think about that, and that is where the power of Google came into picture. I still remember that when the Google launched GCP back in 23, I was in my college days. It's like BigQuery was one of the product which Google is using internally, as Alam shows in their slide from 2008, then something known as Dremel, that is the engine behind the BigQuery. So I see such product in their very early stage, and after 6 to 7 years, the maturity and giving the modernization of each and every services, it's just really tremendous. And now coming, like, data again is not new. Most of I am expecting that if you are using, you see this journey, this descriptive way, just only the reporting, which is only for the key people in the organization, and very few people come into the diagnostic level, which is trying when they are trying to find, like, just giving a scenario of why the sales are dropping, and it is kind of ad hoc queries on the fly. But this is also now phasing out. We are living in the world of machine learning and uh, artificial intelligence, and doing all those things in the legacy is still not too supportive. But the cloud comes with such feature out of the box, where we can figure out, rather than why, then using the historical data, that what will happen and what action a business unit or business, entire business, to take to make a win-win situation for their customer, for the organization, for everyone. So that is where now the entire data to decision and actions come into picture. And some challenges about the legacy analytics, that especially the storage cost, because when we are not living in the era of gigabytes or terabytes, I think we all are holding in our hand nowadays, or we have enough such kind of capacity in our systems. But we are talking about the tens or hundreds of terabyte to the petabyte or even an exabyte kind of a scale, as the data is generating in a much bigger pace. And another situation is the data resides at a silo, and doing and making merge, making it a centralized lake or centralized repository, and making it a clean from that. That is become a, what I can say, in the sense of manpower. It's a very expensive, and it's an expensive, time consuming task. So that is a big problem till date businesses are facing. And another is the limited set of analytics, because there are many frameworks available, but if we are tied with some kind of a legacy licensing base, that can create a problem, that can a showstopper for any organization to innovate. And data maintenance is tougher. That is another thing, because uh, managing the system, managing even the storage devices is not easy. We need to make sure we have enough capacity, and the security is another key major part here, that who can access what data, because it may happen according to the organization policy. One country can't access another country data. So for that, maintaining and knowing all the complex tasks is really expensive, and limited scalability and capital expenditure, that is always a big concern. And that is, I believe, the key driver for any organization to adopt the cloud. So to address all these things, the cloud native, which is the new standard, came into picture. The on-demand scalability, availability, be it from the infra level to the now the any data analytics services level, that is the proven methodology, that according to the demand, our infrastructure as well as our services can scale, and all users will have a same level of user experience, and it's a win-win situation. And the cost is from the capital expenditure to the operations OPEX model. So that is another big area where the businesses are looking to expand, to try to taste the cloud. And if the analytics can be their key driver, it is very much welcoming for Google Cloud. Another part, while talking about the legacy data warehouses and the database technologies, streaming is kind of a tough scenario. The streaming, when we talk about, we are living in the real world, real time data generation, and everyone wants the results quickly, because being as a human, we are losing the impatient. Maybe 10 years back, if even a website open in a 10 second, it was a okay scenario for us. But now we can't wait even a single second. We always want a result come quickly. So most of the applications and the businesses relying on their data, and the real-time data need to be happen, the analytics need to be happen. So that is what the cloud native analytics are solving the problem. And I'll mention about that, especially I'm talking in the context of the GCP here, that yes, open source technology with enterprise grade support, because learning curve is always a tough part. It's my personal experience also working with a different customer, that if we propose a new technology, people may shy away to learn because they are very much comfortable what they are using. That is where most of the organization is on the open source framework, and the same kind of experience with much more enhancement and the power of network and the computation power what Google Cloud Platform is providing. And plus the support is always required. As I mentioned, the post deployment support plays a major role. So open source is there, and strong security and compliances whatever required for industry vertical as well as the geography, that is there. And now coming to the futuristic part, out of the box machine learning and AI capabilities. So with that, I would like to show a bit of the end-to-end pipeline what GCP is providing here. Just let me have my. Okay, so we are talking about the batch and streaming. Both are the mix and match cases, as well as for some organization it may be individual. Some is still at the batch level according to their business use case, and some is looking for the streaming use case. So all such kind of services is there, and with the different phases it is mentioned. Like for data collecting or data ingesting part, something known as PubSub, which is a publisher and subscriber mechanism, and it can scale a 100,000 to 100,000 concurrent, what you can say, the messages to much more. And as well as if it is a batch service, we can use uh, some migration services, as well as PubSub also can fit in such scenarios. The important part here is the processing. When we talk about the data cleaning, and I believe most of us have read something about data science or data engineering, the major job is 80 to 90% they spend their time to cleaning the data. And to cleaning the data, that is the most time consuming and complex. That is where the tools like data fusion and data prep come into picture, which is a GUI based, as well as if you are using again the open source Apache Beam or Hadoop, which is the kind of de facto since like I think 15 to 17 years. And Dataproc is the same service which is using the Hadoop, Spark, Pig, Latin, and Dataflow is it's a serverless version of that, in which we can use the Apache Beam framework to build our data cleaning pipeline. And then the storage part will come into picture, data lake. When we are talking about the next futuristic thing, we don't want to lose a single byte of our data because our entire business is relying on that. But it may happen at this stage we are not ready to build the data science capability or the next level of AI ML capability, but data lake can come into picture with a full governance and a damn cheap cost. And using the data lake, we can store our whatever structured, unstructured, or semi-structured data at a central with all the governance and policy. And coming to the store part, the BigQuery storage, it is native to the data warehouse storage, because again there is a now theme going on using the cloud. We have a commodity of computation. We need to bring the computation near to the storage, rather than the few years back it was a concept that the storage need to be bring near to the compute. So with that strategy, the BigQuery storage is a reliable and durable storage. And to analyze, the BigQuery plays here the major role for doing the enterprise and cloud native data warehousing. Here we don't need to manage the server. It can scale, it can put the computation according to the need of a query, and it can scale for any level of user, any level of query. And if you still want to use the Spark framework, the Dataproc and the Hadoop, it is still there. The entire cluster is managed by us. The entire focus is on what the decisions or insights we are trying to drive. And at the end, if you have your own favorite BI tool, it is already established in your organization. Out of the box support is available for BigQuery and Dataproc. Everything can work there. So, or if you are looking to the cloud native BI tool, then the Looker can come into picture, as well as the Google is having something known as Data Studio, or the other partners offering available in marketplace, which can be utilized. And as we are talking about analytics, so we can't forget that how we are going to manage and secure the data catalog. And Composer is something when we are creating the pipeline which can be automated. It can be again the real time, as well as it can be automated using some schedule. So all these are made from the open source framework. So Composer is specially specific with Apache Airflow. So if you are using Apache Airflow, we can fit the Composer, and it can scale at any scale to solve the purpose. So with that, without just talking and showing, I think it will be important to share what kind of success stories is, what kind of customer problem Cloud Kinetics is trying to solve, and we have a success stories around that. So first one is for the financial customer. So again, it is almost 2 decades ago organization, and they are coming with the problem set. It is global organization, and they want that they are a bit late in the cloud journey, but they want that they will build the central data lake as well as they can drive, because they are providing the insurance to their customer, and they are coming with this problem statement that as the automobile industry was going down in 2018 and yeah, in 2018, so it was a high time for them to know that what will be the retention for the customer. But when they come with the business case but don't know where to start, Cloud Kinetics chip in, and we help them to design their centralized data lake, because we selected the first few location. We gave them the proof of concept, and again, as I showed, the technology stack, that how the ingestion, how the centralized, how all the governance policy can be adhered, and how we can utilize the BigQuery and their existing BI tool to build their reports. And at the end, the important part is TCO. So we were able to deliver that. And this was kind of a bad story, I want to say, because they are giving the data on some interval, but it is like giving them the result in a much faster way, because the multiple countries were involved, and they are able to till date it's running in production. They are enjoying, and we are enhancing more and more as out of the box capability of ML model training came into picture. So that is where the win-win situation for the customer, for the cloud provider, and by Cloud Kinetics come into picture. And this one is, I can say, is really near to my heart, that from the day zero, I am working with this customer. So they are around century-year-old organization, and they want to modernize their customer experience. So they are providing the electricity to one city, which is having around 3 to 4 million kind of population, and they want to put a smart meter in the houses. But sooner they realize the existing technology, they are the big what I can say, the spender on the legacy technology, and they have a big clusters for that. But they realize they are not able to generate a report, and they are not able to serve their customer in an efficient manner. They first did a trial in the small set of user in some area, but they find that, and then we jump in and we help them to modernize their thing. And it is kind of a real time data analytics going on, and the project is growing and growing. And we are like really happy to see this customer, that they are able to achieve what they want, and the more modernization things are in the pipe. And with that, I would like to show a few demos. So what I will do, I will share just the scenario to set the context, and I will spend 2 to 3 minutes to show the demo, so that everyone can understand what's going. So most of the customer till date, they are relying on their relational databases for their application, and they are not in the they are still date not ready to move it to the data warehouse, or they are still using maybe a read replica of their existing RDBMS system to do the reporting part. But again, RDBMS system come with its own uh, um, own restrictions, and the queries are not running. So BigQuery come up with the feature without data movement, how we can do the reporting and query on the relational database. So this is just the architecture around this. Just give me a second. So architecturally, so BigQuery support out of the box if you have a MS SQL or the PostgreSQL, or even if you have a file which you are dropping in the storage service, BigQuery can query those data, be it in the CSV, Avro, Parquet format, or directly to the relational database or any CSV. So in the demo, I am going to show I have set up the relational database. I have put a movie database which is having around the 20 million records, and I'm going to show that. So let me share my screen here. So I'm in the GCP console, and here is my database. I'm going to select the movie lens database to show how many rows. So it is an open database which I just put it in my engine, and I'm just running a query that so that you will see that how many rows are here. There are different table. I'm not going to do much of the table structure, but you can see even I'm spinning a very small cloud SQL here, and it's a MS SQL. So you can see it's 20 million row. I'm going to run a query which is trying to find out the top 15 movie according to the rating. So here I just fired the query. Let's wait for 30-40 seconds and see what it will give us in return. As you can see, this query is not running. It will be failed. It will maybe run for a few minutes, and after that no result will happen. So let me show you now. In the console I have prepared the connection already. I like to show it. So as I mentioned, in the architecture, BigQuery can query the external sources. So this is my connection to my cloud SQL, and let me show the same thing first so that you will know that I'm not faking here. So just putting the query count part here. So this is the connection wise which I'm getting, and I'm just running the same. It will show how much the data is residing in this, and after that I will run the same joining, which is having an aggregation and join in between, which seems a complex one, which was failing here in cloud SQL. But let's see what BigQuery will give us a result. So here you can see it is querying directly. I don't have a database or any data natively, but it go through this connection and it churn the data and pick the data from Cloud SQL. So I have the query again, which I mentioned, the top 15 movies according to this IMDb rating. So let's see how much time it will take and what result we will get. So I'm running the non-cache version because I don't want to show the cache one, because there is a feature which I will cover in the down the line demo. But I think demo daemon is not with me today, and the time is running so fast. I think I'm not messing with the query. Yeah. Okay, you can see it took a 1 minute, which was previously failing. It was not running. Don't go on the process data size because it's all about the complexity what we are running, and we know when we have a multiple join and multiple aggregation, it is kind of a it need a more computation power, as well as it's a big time consuming. But here maybe if we can tweak more our query according to that, the result can be much faster. So another thing here I quickly want to show the native visualization tool. You, as mentioned in my presentation, we can use any of your favorite tool JDBC, ODBC connections are there and connected are fully supported. But if we want to create a report, again the cloud native BI will come into picture, and from the same query, it will pick the data, and according to that, we can, let's say, I'm just showing if I want to create the pie chart, or if I want to change some dimensions and all these things, according to that, the report generation can happen, and it can be shareable with public and only with the authorized user. Everything is out of the box possible here. So that's my first demo. And the second one, just give me a second here. The second one is something real-time one, because the previous one, it can be batch, because we are just we are querying the external data source. So the real-time one here, the scenario is I have a one demo traffic data from one of the US city, and I'm trying to put that data using PubSub, and in the real time, the data will get cleaned and it will be stored in the BigQuery. So let me show that demo here. I have prepared the thing. Let me start my, uh, just give me a second. Let me start my data generator, and then I will move to the data flow part to show that how the ingestion and this is the sensor data. The scenario is these are the sensors installed in the city, and they are what I can say, they are seeing the car speed in which lane and how fast the car is moving. According to that, they are recording. So here I am publishing my data in my data pipeline, the ingestion part, and in the interval of every 5 seconds, some events are getting pushed. So I am going to the data flow. I think, yeah. So here my job is started as I prepared demo before. So, but I started my data generator just now. So again, the data flow is the implementation of Apache Beam, which is a unified API which support the Python and Java. I have made this job in Java, and different phases. If anyone played with the Apache Beam, so there are the different transformation phase, and some terminology is there, but as it's a very powerful here, I don't need to manage any infrastructure. I just set up my job. I just defined in my Java code what are the things required, because as it is a real time, so it is a unbounded. So the power of windowing function will come into picture, that we need to know that in a what window in the timestamp, how many elements or records are going to get processed. And I have mentioned this because I don't want to burn too much of computation. Max 2 vCPU kind of power will be utilized, but I have not spin up an infrastructure. According to the need, it will play, it will downsize, or it may be in the mode of shutdown. So this is the different phases from the PubSub. The first phase is it is getting the data at an interval, and after that, as it's a Windows function, then by the sensor, it is just collecting the individual car data collected by the each and every sensor, and it is splitting it by sensors here, and then I put the average function to see that what is the data for each sensor in the interval of 60 seconds, and then and the different phases are getting here the group by and the group value, and after that it is getting stored into the BigQuery. So let me go to the BigQuery console. Meanwhile, it is running, and you can see the data is getting processed, and it is writing at this scale. And as more data is going to be generated and put, it is going to quicker, much quicker. So I'm here in my BigQuery console, and the table for this is here, average data speed. So this is the data which is defined in my data flow job, and all the structure is there. I'm just going to query just to show in the real time that count is getting increased, because as we're talking about the real time, so anyone can play with the data, like whatever the need required, and we can do the query. So I'm just running the count query and it will show right now 143,000 rows are there, and within a few seconds we will see it is getting the real-time insertion and the count is getting increased. So just wait for 10 more seconds. And let me fire this. Let's see if this is getting. Yes, I think 200 more rows are getting added. So again, everything in the data flow, it can be tweaked. I just put as a 60-second kind of an interval for the windowing and my speed factor, but depend on the different scenario, we will be happy to discuss and we can design the architecture according to that. So here you can see in the real time, it is getting updated. This is the overall row count. It is just checking the metadata. But if you want to see the preview of this data is getting clean. And this is the speed and the time spent and the longitude and latitude is there. This is my second demo. And now proceeding to the another one. This is a very, what I can say, the special one, a very simplistic, the serverless, using the serverless, how we can do the ingestion, because serverless has become a new norm when we talk about any cloud platform, and GCP is mostly providing the serverless services given underneath. It is backed by the real computation power, but as a user, we don't need to deal with all these things. And I believe everyone in their career have set up the cron job, or you play with the cron tab in the Linux system or maybe in the Windows. But here I'm just pulling one file which is for which a schedule is running and every hour. I'm putting in the pub/sub queue, which is triggering my cloud function. So cloud function, I don't want to expose it directly to the public. So that is where the pub/sub come into picture. And I'm not doing too much of transformation here because it's just a CSV file. I'm putting that I have defined my table in the cloud function and it is putting the data in BigQuery. So it's a very small demo, but it may be powerful for some businesses who are just in the early stage and who just want to dump their data, and they can utilize this feature. So here you can see the table name which is going to generate is this. I'm just going to delete this table because I was testing this and I want to show the real stuff. I have deleted the table. Now I'm going to use cloud function. It is the event driven stuff, and that is where I have put the scheduler part. Every hour it is running, but we will run it manually and it will take 30 to 40 seconds. It will pull the data. The data set here is the COVID test from the one state, which is Northern Virginia in US. So the government side of that state is publishing the data. So I'm just pulling some data and I have written my code in Python and I have triggered. So just wait for 10-15 seconds and we will see. And here we go. I think now it is pulling the log, but we see our result here. Let me refresh. Let me stop this one and let me refresh. Okay, and here we go. Voila. So here the data is from the file. It is getting in that trigger, and we can, if you want, we can query again the count here. It will show around 300,000 some rows getting added in just span of few seconds. So that is the power of the new serverless modernized system. So here we can see 327,000 rows are getting. And if you want to query and create the report, we can do, as I showed, the data studio part is here. That was a small demo, and now I want to show the real power because I was showing very small data set, but what else a BigQuery or the Google services can do. So let me show. I am going to query a data set which is having around 10 billion of row. So I have made the query already, and this this data set is publicly available and anyone can play with this data. It is for the uh, GitHub users, and the query is showing that how many times in the 10 billion, the data set having the 10 billion row, the Google word come into picture. So I'm just going to run a query. Before that, I want to see if it is cached. I don't want to use the cached version, and it is showing the query will process almost around 415 gig of data. So let it run. Let's see how quickly it will come into picture. So here we can see it's just a span of 8 to 9 second, 10 billion row. I have removed the cached one. So this is a real result, and you can see it doesn't mean the data size. It's all about the complexity of query and how we are going to design. So this is, I found a very beautiful query which is designed, and it is able to query the 10 billion data, 10 billion rows in just a span of 9 seconds. And let's try this quickly with the 100 billion row. Now the data set size is 100 billion rather than 10. It's the same thing, how many times Google is came into the GitHub commits and all those things. So let's see, I'm just closing the previous one. And I think I have messed up something. Let me do it again. Okay, so this will show this time we are going to run on the data which is around 4.1 TB. So here I don't need to think about that I need to have a more computation power beforehand to prepare so that this run and this query will run optimally. Even let's say simultaneously some of my other users are using BigQuery, underneath is handling all the computation part. Let's see, and for 100 billion rows, how much time it is taking. Yeah. You can see in a minute. Okay, in a minute we have able to run the 4.1 TB of data. It is getting processed, and now if you think that you want to compare it with the external source query result, maybe it will not a direct comparison because external sources come with its own network. I intentionally, as I mentioned, I am running a very small instance of Cloud SQL because I want to show that yes, external is easy and out of the box. But here you can see the real power because this data is native to the BigQuery, and we are able to do this. Okay, so maybe my last two slides that yes, migration can be risky. Understand that yes, you are running already the data analytics to design to drive the decision for your organization. But if you're looking that you are not sure that where to start and how you can adopt all these new tool set to modernize your organization and the modernize the process, we are here being as a partner, being as closely working with GCP and coming with the experience, making the customer win-win situation. Feel free to contact us, and we will happy to help. And with that, some key takeaway: think about the OPEX model rather than the CAPEX, and real-time analytics, even in the batch. If you want more and more quickly result, that is where the power, as I showed you, talking about the 10 billion to the 100 billion or the external data sources, BigQuery, and the tools are supportive. Advanced and predictive analytics, I intentionally not put any ML example because I want to share the real picture because we all are somehow struggling and facing scenarios that we are stuck at the old technology. But what is the alternative and how we can enhance? That is where the all demos were. And data sharing can be easy for the reporting or even for the BigQuery if we want. The security part, row level security is also supported and built-in protection as all the compliances and data at rest and data even in the movement, everything is encrypted. With that, I'm ending the discussion and hand over to Jamie.
All right. Thank you, Alam and Shirak. So, as we are at the top of the hour, we'll quickly take a couple of questions, if any. So, feel free to either type into the chat box or unmute yourself. Alternatively, you could also email us at cloudkinetics.com. Otherwise, we would appreciate if you would fill in this survey form. using your handphone, and then we'll contact and reach out to you pertaining to your 1 day of data analytics assessment. So while you're filling in any question. All right, then if there's no question from the floor, we'll thank you very much for your attendance. We really appreciate it, and we hope you have a very nice day and hope to see you soon. Good evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye bye.